That's not how we start this off. But so April showers brought lots of time for us to play some games.
Yeah, so what did we all play in April? Stay tuned to find out.
Yes.
Welcome to Wisco Dice. Hey yo folks, I am your host, the Conesy with the Most, and I am joined today by...
Hey, I'm Suzanne, and we just got through a really rainy month of April here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, we had lots of chances to play new games.
Lots of new games this month.
So we had 9 new games, and it was a lot of fun playing all of these. But before we get into talking about the games that we played, why don't you make sure, if you haven't already, to give us a subscribe. Let us know that you really do enjoy watching the content we're creating. And you know what? Let us know in the comments what games you played that were new to you in the month of April.
Yes, definitely looking for some games that we can add to our collection or at least try out in the month of May. So we welcome all suggestions.
And with that, let's dive into the games we've been playing.
All right. So, first game, they are not in the order that we played them in the month, but we played Trekking Through History, which is by Underdog Games. They were nice enough to send us a copy of the game for us to play and let you know our thoughts, and so we thank them for that. Trekking Through History is very similar to the other trekking games that are out. I believe there's Trek in the World and a couple other ones. So in this one, you are jumping through time and creating these itineraries to take people on treks through history while gathering different resources that allow you to score points. And it's just a fun little game to kind of see what happened in history that you may or may not remember from class at school. And, you know, it just gives you little nice facts on the back of the cards and some nice colors and really amazing components that it comes with for the price point of this game.
Yeah, I was really blown away with the quality of the components. Again, Herstory was our first Underdog Games selection they sent us for trying, and we really liked and appreciated the components and the gameplay there. Again, no surprise, top-notch production on the game. Components are very solid. Love the fact that you even have the little roll-up
the neoprene mat
in the box again,
yes.
And storage for it in the box, so it's not cluttering up my shelf with how do I store all these neoprene mats. Which, hey, if you have a problem or a solution for how to store your neoprene mats, let us know in the comments below, because we'd appreciate hearing some ideas for that too. Because like most of us out there, most gamers out there, we're probably struggling just like a lot of every other people out there.
Yeah, and I will say on this matter of storage, again with this game, you don't have a million plastic baggies because it has built-in storage trays for the components in it.
Yeah.
So in addition to having nice gameplay that's just very eye-catching and engaging, you also have some great storage with it. So,
and again, it's an educational game. Like, you could use this in a classroom environment to teach people about the game, about history and whatnot. But at the same time, like, it didn't feel while we were playing it like it was pushing or forcing this history into anything other than at least in a gameplay mechanic, other than just let's have fun. And if you wanted to explore the history about it more, you could flip over cards and look up more about the history. So that is Trekking Through History from Underdog Games. Next up, we have Scuttleball, which was sent to us by our friends at Crossbow Games. We actually had Crossbow Games on the podcast on our audio show, which you can catch on iTunes or Stitcher Smart or basically wherever you go listen to podcasts these days. We had them back on in January, but we'll have a link in our description down below for where you can catch that interview with the designers if you want to listen to that. But Scuttleball itself, these are like little mid-tin game kind of games that they're produced. You can order them right through
the Game Crafter, and they're two-player games.
Yep, two-player.
These are definitely two-player games, which is great for date nights.
Or yeah,
like
you want to
take
travel
into the
anywhere,
bar, wherever. Yep.
So one thing with Scuttleball is it doesn't come with any dice and does require 9 dice per player. So like the little small D6 dice, 6-sided dice are perfect. Like you just go raid your Monopoly box or whatever, a couple of Monopoly boxes if you don't have D6 dice.
A lot of
anyways.
Monopoly boxes.
I guess, yeah. You only need like 2 dice for Monopoly, right? That just goes to show how long ago it's been since I played Monopoly. But in Scuttleball, you're basically playing like this very interesting back and forth of like volleying the it's basically a volleyball game. And you have like 3 different like maps or whatever that you could play, and they basically give different they position different spots on the board is basically what all of the maps do, really, I think.
Yeah, and then each time that you place a die on a specific player location, then you either have an effect that happens to your own dice, then in your dice pool, dice on the board, or to your player's dice. You may force them to make a certain move in a game if they want, or re-roll all their dice. So it's definitely a game where there's high player interaction, and you are trying to force your player to make moves or take moves. You got to be okay with that.
Yeah, because you have to defend against the strength of the dice that they basically volleyed it back. How hard did they volley it back to you? Was it a nice gentle lob and they placed like a 1 or a 2 on their dice when they placed it down, or were they smacking it hard and placed a 6? And so you have to counter with equal to or greater value. Or was it greater value? Greater value than what it was. Value. And the one thing is like a 1 did counter a 6, so it was the only time a 1 countered anything.
Yeah.
But then you were like, okay, hey, I managed to get it. I got a big dig or whatever. I dug, I'd be able to get it up. But then it was just kind of you're lobbing it back over the net when you countered the 6 with a 1. But I enjoyed it a lot of fun. I had a really good time playing it, even though I lost.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he lost because.
Yeah, I mean, I got you on the first set, and then the second 2 sets, you were just.
It was just hey, I figured out how he got me and just did it right back at him.
Yeah, and I couldn't counter it. I mean, some of it came down to like because you roll your dice to start the set, and then that's what you got. So. Like there's a little bit you can do to manipulate the dice luck and whatnot in the game, which is nice. But if you were able to really press that advantage in both sets and keep me from being able to do a lot of the dice manipulation to dig myself out of bad dice rolls. So
yeah, and if you need an excuse to go buy some new dice from your local game store, get this game, and then you just have to get dice that are dedicated to this game. So.
You know a thing or two about buying extra dice.
I love dice, so yeah. But yeah, that is Scuttleball by Crossbow Games. And next up, we have another game by Crossbow Games, also that they sent us, which is called Draft Horse. So another 2-player Mint size game, great for sticking in your pocket or your purse. This one, instead of having dice, it's all cards. And as the name implies, Draft Horse, you are drafting cards with your opponent to create the best team of horses and goods that you are then going to be taking and selling. So yeah, so this is a quick game. We played it a bunch of times. We even played it at game night. Ben got it out with Matt at game night, and we were able to play it there. Super quick and easy to learn. And we played 3 out of 5? No, best.
I think we just played. I think we played
4
best
games
of 3
the first
or whatever.
time we played it. It was that quick and also that fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely love this game. It's a complete game in a box. So unlike Scuttleball, where you have to go get dice, there's nothing extra you need in this game to take with you. It's perfect, nice small form factor. And yeah, I mean, it was so good that I ended up getting it out. Like Matt and I were just sitting at game night at Misty, and we're like, "Hey, do you want to play something quick?" While you wait for the other game to finish up, and he was like, sure, and I chucked it out, explained the rules, and we were playing in no time and had a blast with it. And while my experience with the game, I beat Matt there, he was like, oh, I got it, this is really clever, I really enjoy this, I'd like to play it again. So yeah, anytime you need a good 2-player, or you're just wanting to have something to travel.
I was really impressed with both of these games that Crossbow Games has put out. They're nice, they're mint tin size, but there's a good game in that tin. And so I'm excited to see what comes out next for them. And as a reminder, these games you can actually find on GameCrafter's website, and they'll just, order directly from there.
Yep.
So. Yep.
So that is Draft Horse from Crossbow Games. The next game on our list is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, which we included the new Kickstarter expansion
it's 2 of the
components.
3 ones.
2 of the 3. So yeah, Terraforming Mars is always one of her favorite families of games. Well, yes. It is your number 1 game. This didn't make your list of top 10 games, no. But I honestly like Ares Expedition a lot more than I like the actual original Terraforming Mars. I think the gameplay is a little more streamlined, it still takes about the same amount of time. I think we had a full table of 4 or 5 with the
We had 5 because with the expansions, with the Discovery and Foundations expansions, which we added in, you're getting some of the scoring goals that you're used to in Terraforming Mars, and you also can add a 5th player into the game,
which was really nice. So. Basically, everybody's selecting what action they're going to want to take in secret in Ares Expedition, and then you all reveal, and then when everybody reveals, those are the actions that everybody will get to do, and the action that if you selected that action, you get a little bit of a boost when everybody goes to resolve the action. That mechanic is very Roll for the Galaxy-esque. In fact, Roll for the Galaxy clearly had that mechanic well before Ares Expedition, so it was a little bit of a copycat, but it was it's a really cool way that they incorporated it in this game, which is a mechanic I also love in Roll for the Galaxy. And then, adding in just that little bit, that extra player, adding in the end game goals, like we're in the original Terraforming Mars. Yeah. It gave it that little bit more Terraforming Mars feel that I think it was missing from before. It really felt like Terraforming Mars. I really love the fact that, and I don't know if it's it was just a Kickstarter exclusive or what, but the redone main game board as well with the larger scoring track, the larger other tracks on it for moving the cubes on that you were able to. It was much easier than I can't tell you how many times original base Ares Expedition playing with a really tiny score track. How many times somebody's score might have got bumped 1 or 2, or you couldn't tell because the marker got slid a little bit, and then by the time you're done playing, somebody probably was plus or minus. All the scores were probably plus or minus a point.
So that there are definitely improvements over the base game for it, and I do enjoy Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition because it's a little bit more accessible, and others that maybe aren't huge Terraforming Mars fans also enjoy playing this game.
There's less downtime too.
Yes, there is a lot less downtime in it. There aren't the standard rounds that you're going through. It's just when someone, depending on what people trigger, depends on if you're going to have income or not. So it's definitely a good game. It has a lot of the feel of the building, out of are you going to have a lot of plants? Are you going to be focusing on creating energy, what you're going to be doing? So it's definitely a fun game. And if you have the base game, I recommend adding these expansions onto it because it just does add that little bit something extra.
I would definitely tell you to go get the expansions to this one. It doesn't change the game rules, but gives you that original Terraforming Mars feel so much more.
So that is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition with the Discovery and Foundations expansions that we play this month, and that's produced by Stronghold Games. So next up, we are completing our collection of Azul games that we own. There's Azul Master Chocolatier by Next Move Games.
Yeah, I know we talked about this in our first ever 3 and 15 where we reviewed the original Azul and said, no, there's nothing different in Master Chocolatier that you need to worry about. It's just a redo of the original Azul, and I still kind of stick to that.
Yeah.
But there's one thing in this that makes it different. What is it?
So with this one, where you have your factory tiles on the board, if you can flip them over in Master Chocolatier, and there are different qualities that happen when you put your tiles on there at the beginning of the game. Maybe it's that there's an extra specific chocolate tile, or when you take one from it, they might go out to the sides instead of falling on the factory floor in the middle. So there's just this little bit where there might be some movement of these tiles when they come out. And then it's chocolate colored. So you got your dark chocolate, your light chocolate, your white chocolate tiles. So
Yeah, I still visually like the original Azul better,
yeah,
but the tile mechanics that are in the Master Chocolatier version really made. I really like that. I really enjoyed that little bit of like manipulation or different. Just changed up the play just a little bit, especially when you get like a tile that was pushing things to the left and right, or your choice. You can push push the remaining tiles that you didn't take to the left or the right or whatnot. That really gave you something a little bit different to do in Azul besides just getting tiles and filling your board, and seeing how you could manipulate things to end up giving some, with somebody, not you ending up with a whole bunch of broken tiles.
I mean, I agree that the colors, the colorfulness and the brightness and that happiness that you get from the base Azul and the other versions of it is not there because this is just a dark board. And if it wasn't for the designs on some of the chocolate tiles to help you differentiate them, it does mess me up a bit still. Like, hey, it's a dark chocolate versus the milk chocolate versus the like hazelnutty colored one. So it's a much browner game, and it does add a little bit different, as Ben was saying, with hey, this is where they push. I definitely want to play it at a higher player count because for me, I didn't feel like it was all that different with this. I'm like, okay, there's an extra tile. I'm wondering if at a higher player count, if it's just going to feel like it's moving around a little bit more and a little bit more unpredictable.
Yeah, I mean, it's on BGA, so I've had an opportunity to play at a larger player counts on BGA. And that's why I said, hey, I was kind of excited to get it and bring it home because it had these little bit different mechanics. I really hope that they put out another expansion for the original Azul that incorporates some of these different tiles and then expands on that idea, because that was a brilliant idea to change up the gameplay in original Azul and doesn't really make it so that you have a huge expensive thing that you have to add to the game. So
right,
that is Azul Master Chocolatier from Next Move Games. Moving on, we have Modern Art, the card game. This is the version that we played is the CMON version, or Kamon, or whatever they want to call themselves these days. But this is the classic Reiner Knizia Modern Art game where you're... honestly, I don't really remember the mechanics that well, but I remember I really enjoyed the game, but we only played it the one time.
No, we played it 4 times.
Oh, we played it 4 times. Yeah, but we played it a bunch.
4 times.
Which just says something about how much we enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, so it's the card game version of Modern Art, which is basically it's very similar to the main one. It's a smaller box.
Okay.
It's slightly different. But if you like Modern Art, or you can't, I believe Modern Art, the original one, is more difficult to get a hold of. So if you want something that's got the artworks in it, this is definitely, you can go ahead and pick this up and be enjoying it. You have, I believe it's like five or six different artists that have their work, and then you are drawing a hand of cards, and you are playing those cards. Some of those cards are going to allow you to put another card down into your gallery, are going to force your opponent to do something. You might put something down that no one knows what it is. And then once a certain number of artworks are placed, related to whoever the featured artist is, then the game is that round is going to end, and you are going to score your cards.
Yep, I remember that. You were very good at ending rounds way earlier than I was ready for.
With a 2-player game, you definitely can plan out, hey, if I end it now, I'm going to have a lot more points than they are, even if I want to keep going.
It was definitely a puzzle to trying to figure out how I was going to be able to end it or be able to score enough points. You definitely, I think, had me on that most of the time.
So, yeah. But it's a nice... card game that we were at Misty Mountain for our monthly board game night, and I was wandering around and I saw it on the shelves, and I'm like, I need this game. I love games with the artwork in them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge modern art fan, but even the art in this is actually really good. I mean, the artworks that they chose and the artists they chose are all really good.
It's all, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's almost like you have flashcards. If you need to study modern art, you got
Yeah.
flashcards in this
Another
box.
another game that could be good for the classroom. It's not overtly complex, but it has that like artistic teaching value.
Yep. Quick, simple rules, but again, there's some complexity with how you win and what you play when. So that is Modern Art card game by Simon Games. All right. Next up is a game I played, but Conesy over here has not yet. But
It came out at Misty Mountain Game Night, so
yes,
actually
yes.
it's been out the last 2 weeks, hasn't it? Or was it just?
It was just the one.
Just the one. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you, Robert, for bringing that game and sharing it with us. It is Gun Kimono by Renegade Games. This is a little bit older game, but it's tile laying where you have multiple levels and there are rules for how you can lay your tiles. And depending on when you lay your tile, you can score. You can choose to either get points or move up on different tracks that then let you unlock little houses that score you persistent points. But the game board is always changing depending on where you lay your tile versus where someone else is. If they break up different blocks of colors, then you're going to suddenly get less points or more points. So it's just this, like, again, it's another one of these games where, hey, the rules, here's like the 5 rules to play it, but then you sit there and you go, gosh, which is the best move right now? Definitely a lot of fun to play. I would suggest if you see it out somewhere and it's in your price range, pick it up. It's
it's not horribly expensive.
No, and it's great for a whole range of ages and gaming interests and gaming levels to play. So that is Gun Kimono by Renegade Games.
So next up was Red Rising from Stonemaier Games. This is another game that I happened to get out at our Misty Mountain Game Night, which is on the last Friday of every month. And this was one that Matt had brought and ended up playing with his wife and kids. And I've never read the book series that this is based on. I've never really experienced a whole lot with it. So I thought I had played it before, so I kind of approached it and let him know, oh yeah, don't worry about, I don't need to teach. I've played this game before. But as soon as I sat down to the game and started to try to play it, I was like, ooh, uh-oh. I've never actually played this. So I'm like, can you kind of help me with the rules here? And like, oh, here's a little cheat, or here's a little rules cheat card. Everything you need to know about how to play the game is on the little card. And I think I got the gist of how to play the game, but I had no idea like how to combo, like, or what was advantageous to combo together, or whatnot from a cards perspective. And there is a lot of like you're constantly manipulating your hand to ultimately try to get to set up your hand to be your the best possible points and score for you at the end of the game. So different cards combo differently with what you have in your hand versus what ends up getting played out on the board. And of course, if you're playing things out on the board, then you're triggering maybe some special powers and getting some other things. And there's a number of things that are happening to try to, end the game, building up fleets, you're building up, I don't know, political or whatever, something else. And there's some other resource that's in the books. And I apologize for fans of the series. I just haven't had an opportunity to read the series. So like the theme of the game was completely lost on me. And I can see how that probably plays into some of the enjoyment of this game. That said, I there was a really kind of clever game mechanic, and it's a really well done game mechanic for the theme of the game, and for something that is taking an IP and bringing it to the table, which is something awesome. Like, I can't tell you how many 80s IP games were just absolute garbage.
Right.
They just we threw ET on the box, or we threw, Indiana Jones on the box or something, and it was just a garbage game. And now it's like these IP games get such great, clever mechanics and treatment, and this is no exception. And it was enjoyable to play because of that. I think it's gonna, for somebody that doesn't know the books or the theme, that's really behind from the IP perspective here, it probably takes you a few plays to really understand which cards combo well, from versus somebody that knows all the factions and knows knows like who which characters are arguing with each other and whatnot. They could probably step into this game and play it, pick up and play it, and get those combos a lot faster.
Yeah, I'd say this game I just watched, here and there while I was playing another game. It's very intriguing. And from talking with Matt's daughter about the books, these books I want to read and I want to play the game now if they go along well together.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool artwork. So if any of you have played Red Rising and or read the books, I'd love to hear your comments on what you think of the gameplay and how it matches up with what you know in the stories.
Yeah, so that is Red Rising from Stonemaier Games. And then the final game that I played, this was at a game night that Suzanne wasn't at, was In the Hall of the Mountain King from Burnt Island Games. Now, this is our first game of the Hall of the Mountain King series that they had produced. We own Fall of the Mountain King, whatever. I think it's Fall of the Mountain King is what it actually is, which is a territory majority game with the gnomes attacking constantly. But in the Hall of the Mountain King, basically the gnomes, for whatever reason, the story background is that the mountain got angry at the gnomes and basically collapsed the tunnels and whatnot. So the trolls are back. You're playing as trolls, basically taking back and digging out the tunnels and making the mountain god happy again. So this is more of like a tile layer, if I remember it right, where you're kind of adding and digging in new tunnels into the board, and you get deeper and deeper and closer to the heart of the mountain. So there's definitely better rewards for placing those. But there's a lot of different ways to score and mechanically score, and it really didn't use any of the mechanics from Fall of the Mountain King, which we own and have familiar with. It's like a completely different mechanically, aesthetically it looks very similar, but mechanically it's a much different game. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit more than I thought I did, and it would definitely I had originally, this is another one I thought I had played before, and I know I said I didn't like it. I had completely confused it with a different game. So this is a game that I had never played before, and I'm really glad I played it. It may be something we ended up deciding to add to our collection now. I really did enjoy the game. It would be nice to have, kind of, hey, I collect the set. I have all of the Hall of the Mountain King games. So that is In the Hall of the Mountain King from Burnt Island Games. And I think that gets us through all of the games that were new to us in the month of April.
Yes. So we had quite a good April month here, and hopefully May will be the same for us. And like we said at the beginning of the video, please subscribe, like this video, and also let us know what games you played in April or are hoping to play in May, because we're always looking for some new games to check out that are maybe even different than what we have or complementary to what we've been talking about.
Say we've been cranking through that table of opportunity, but I think the table of opportunity is still growing faster than we're cranking through it.
Yes.
So
I know next month we'll be talking about Lords of Valhalla, the new version of that game that came out, and I forget what else we got planned.
There's so much on the table.
There's quite a few games. Some
solo games over there I know that we need to probably get through.
Oh, that means I need to get through.
Oh, I actually play. I think I'll play
Final Girl.
Final Girl. I'll play that too. I actually really like that. So
okay.
There's a number of those that are sitting on the pile. There's all sorts of stuff on the table of opportunity. So
Spirit Island
hopefully we'll be able to get through a bunch of that this month.
But anyway, so thank you for sticking through us through this video with us and listening to what we thought of our April games.
Of course, if you like to get more Wisco Dice content besides the YouTube channel, you can go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher Smart or anywhere you find audio podcasts. We have at least monthly episodes releasing of our main podcast that we've been doing for well over 12 years, and we'd love to be able to bring all of the publisher interviews and industry experts and whatnot that we bring on to talk to about things that are happen on that show. So make sure you check that out. And of course, give us a like on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media you use to stay informed when all of the Wisco Dice content comes out.
Hey there, it's Conesy. Thank you so much for watching. We put out videos weekly here at Wisco Dice. Check out our channel for more great videos and don't forget to subscribe. We also have more great content on our website at wiscodice.com. Of course, we do this all for you, the viewers. So please like the video if you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.